opportunity was provided for interested parties to view all items for sale. See attached RFP results and staff reports. Mr. Sarvey.
Results were very discouraging, to say the least. And must have had at least a dozen people. I think you were there, Your Honor, when 3 or 4 people came through and looked at it, and even stated right then and there that they were planning to bid on some of the items. Probably not all. So we advertised, I think, sufficiently in the area papers. Rochester, La Crosse, Winona, made personal calls to some organizations that actually did show up. They reviewed the materials, but only received 2 bids. I included the RFP just so you could see what the request for proposal was supposed to have. None of the bids met the entire intent of the RFP, and therefore council could easily reject both bids that are being offered. The Rasmussen bid for the total quantities for $5,101 is not even in the ballpark as far as I'm concerned, or the gentleman, Mike Hansen, that we were working with to price this out. Mr. Rasmussen didn't really meet any of the requirements of the RFP, other than it appears as though they made a bid on every one of the items, which is what we had preferred. We want to sell it all. But other than that one requirement, which I'm not even sure because of the way that they wrote it up, they didn't meet any of the other bid requirements. The Spring Grove Legion, the prices are a lot closer to what we had anticipated that we would get. They did not bid for all of the items as was requested, but we also put in that we would be willing to look at individual equipment purchases. So my recommendation is that we move forward, sell the items, or we reject the Rasmussen bid. We approve the Spring Grove Legion bid for the red cash register ice machine and the 2 coolers for a total of $2,285, and that we work with a local auction company to sell the rest of the equipment at bid or at auction.
So it's not coming anywhere near the 40 that's thought it was going to be?
No. Well, we've only got, there's only 4 items being sold.
Right.
They didn't even bid for the big walk-in cooler. Now, the one put $2,000.
That's what I'm saying, they're not even interested in that.
Nothing, apparently, all people that were here.
You know, I had several people call here and ask about specific items there, but when they looked at the RFP, they didn't want to bid on everything. They only wanted like one thing. And so their interpretation of this was then theirs wouldn't be looked at all for only bidding on one thing. So some of those people may want to come back
and bid on it.
now. So if you give it to Spring Grove without some of those local, because these were local people that had called here and said, well, I'm just interested in the one thing. So if you give it to Spring Grove now without letting those local people also have a shot at it, that might not go over too well. Just because as they read this, it was all or nothing.
It doesn't. It states in other areas that that it can be negotiated. We wish to sell all items. If they want to offer an alternate proposal, they may do so.
But it does say lump sum pricing.
Would be non-responsive.
Sell all items as one lot.
That's exactly right. That's how the council wanted to sell the equipment, based upon the information that we got from Mike Hansen. That's what we wanted to do. We're really not out much other than the advertising costs of doing it this way. Had somebody come in and made a bid on the equipment the way that we thought, it would have turned out just fine. Now we'll go to Plan B, which was always the fallback position. We were going to sell some of the equipment in there already, those high chairs and the tables and things, and the shelving. We were already scheduled to put that in an auction, just expand the size of the auction.
So whatever happened to Pam now, she was interested in food.
She didn't bid. She and her husband came in.
I was there.
We had a conversation about that very issue. We don't wanna bid on all of it. I told Pam on the phone and I told them there in person. They didn't have to bid on all of it. They could make a bid on whatever piece of equipment that they wanted. The council had the right to reject or to accept the bid. They didn't bid.
Belgian, I feel like I'm missing something here. Two-door cooler, three-door cooler, cash register, I see them there, ice machine, $1,000.
That's the, it's actually a two-piece. It's the beverage air stacking refrigerator or retail cooler. I'm sorry, it's the ice cuber and the ice bin. The cuber and the bin, the Scotsman. Those two items. Because you can actually take the cuber off the top and it'll still make blocks of
So
ice, I guess.
that's item 16 and 17.
Right.
Which was bid on here for $300, but they're asking for, they're offering $1,000.
Right.
Two-door is, the two-door cooler is actually referring to item 12. Is that correct?
Two-door cooler, that's behind the bar. You're talking about the chest coolers, right?
Just
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm
Yes.
asking.
10 and 11. There's a 3 sliding door and a 2 sliding door chest coolers.
10 and 11, okay.
Correct.
The only thing I guess that would throw me a little bit is in our pricing, when we say proposals without a lump sum offer would be treated as non-responsive. That's the only thing is, if I was to bid on it, I guess I missed that when we looked it over the first time. If,
That's what, when people ask me about it,
Then,
that's what
then
they
reject
would
the
say.
bids, and we'll put them all in an auction.
and I guess I would, let Spring Grove know that they could rebid on those individual items because of the way it was structured. I think it should be opened up to everybody again. Whether we do a public auction or something, we're gonna do it.
You plan
That
on
motion.
doing it through the auction?
So moved. Reject the bids and open it up on public auction.
Too dark?
Yes.
I'll second it. Motion by Mr. Hansi, second by Mayor Holland. Is the council comfortable with that? Mr. Punky?
Is that selling it on the internet?
They'll do both,
Whichever way
they
deem most responsible.
Do they get a certain percentage, or is that negotiable?
The buyer pays a percentage and then they get a percentage. That's the way I understand it. I understand the buyer pays the percent.
And we pay part of the advertising.
Depends on how they're set up.
And we pay part of the advertising. So if we can lump it in with a larger auction, the advertising costs get filtered through several people. It wasn't the preferred way. The preferred way was the way that we set it up. Advertise it, somebody comes in, bids all the items, and they buy the lot for a reasonable price. That just didn't happen.
The bids didn't come in. Had it came in the way we were looking at, that we started this process a month before.
So there'll be a lot of,
somebody for everything.
oh, excuse me, Mark. There'll be a lot of other items then that go on the same auction.
Yes.
I would think so.
I would say put everything on the same one.
Well, we'll add the stuff that we were going to put into an auction. So we'll add the shelving and the chairs and some of the glassware, we'll add that to it. But then they may add other lots as well.
So there may be a lot more bar owners or restaurateurs that could take good advantage of that equipment.